All right, here to save us from this interminably long night, the last performer of the evening, Mr. Micah Jeffries.
How's it going, everyone? Anybody Stevie Wonder fans? Stevie Wonder fans? I personally, I work for radio, so I like to tell people about songs that is Stevie Wonder's Signed, Sealed, Delivered. It is the title track to his 1970 Signed, Sealed, Delivered album, and it is actually written about a childhood experience of his where his parents used to share custody of him via the U.S. Postal Service. All right. At least somebody appreciated it. Anyway, my girlfriend was recently given a DVD box set of the Home Alone movies. And if you don't know, there are now 5 Home Alone movies, so I'll let that sink in. 5 fucking Home Alone movies. And for most people, you only consider the first 2, the ones with Macaulay Culkin, and some people consider the third one, but for most people, it's just the first 2, and that's kind of where I am. I love the first 2 movies. I've seen them a million times, and I made this really big mistake. You know, I watched this movie that I loved as a child, as an adult, and when you watch things as an adult, you start to see things that may or may not be there. And so I watched Home Alone 2, and I kind of developed a conspiracy theory around Home Alone 2. And so I'd like to divulge this conspiracy theory with you. Just so you know, once I tell you this, you will not be able to watch Home Alone 2 the same way again. But 2 things you have to understand about this. First, Home Alone 1 happened. Home Alone 1 happened, and an overly bright 8 or 9-year-old took down 2 dipshit thugs with homemade booby traps. That was a thing. Number 2, that would be really traumatic for an 8-year-old. They threatened his life at multiple occasions, and he had to defend himself all the time. That would be really hard for a kid. So some therapy or something would have to take place to help poor little Kevin McAllister get out of the little funk he got from Home Alone 1. So Home Alone 2, you got, it starts out basically like Home Alone 1. There's no real differences, except he's got that little tape recorder and he's recording his family, including his uncle in the bathroom, which is kind of like a red flag. But you've got, he gets on to the airport. They get him to the airport better than the first movie. They get him to New York on accident, and that's where you start to like realize that poor little Kevin McAllister's not all there, but he's like, nah, bro, we got the money, we've got the cards, we've got all this shit. We're fine, man. And so he tries to live it up for a few days, and then everything goes wrong when he goes to the toy store. You know, the toy store. He has this talk with the turtle dove man. He talks about the turtle doves, and then as he starts to leave, he looks up at the wall. And there's a sign, or picture of the turtle dove man. And then he looks back and the turtle dove man is gone. And he's like, what happened? Have I been talking to a ghost? And his mind can't take it, he can't process it. And so Kevin McAllister's mind snaps. He takes 2 steps outside and he sees the bandits from the first movie. It's pretty unlikely, right? You know what the bandits from the first movie looked a lot like? Homeless people. You know what they have a shit ton of in New York? Homeless people. And so he's going around this city of 10 million people. He's seeing these 2 fucking people who somehow broke out of prison in Chicago, made it there the exact same time, all over the city, and he's screaming at them. It's just, I'm sure he's making life miserable for some homeless people. And so then he goes to this house, which has obviously not been lived in for months. It's got holes everywhere. Shit's fucked in this house. And so he decides he's got to take down these bandits, so he booby traps the fucking place. Of course, he's Kevin McAllister. And so he goes and he runs and he smashes a window in the toy store. He runs back. You know what kind of a people would live in a rundown place like that? Homeless people. And so he goes and he runs back to this house and he begins this onslaught of fucking homeless people. He's picking them off with bricks from the ceiling. He's like electrocuting them. He's fucking catching them on fire, blowing these motherfuckers up, dropping things on their heads. Like, complete onslaught, like picking up fucking Chris Kyle numbers on the fucking New York homeless people, and and it's hilarious to me that this movie, they show you it ending with him going back to his family, all is well. Bullshit! That motherfucker spends his time in a padded cell drawing floor plans and booby traps, and that's the Home Alone 2 they don't want you to see.
Yeah!
Alright, that's it.
Hey!